damn.
The Lulu is the Salulu.
God damn. Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg Podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hi there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of the SaVeg Podcast.
Woo-woo.
How you doing? How you doing, Rose?
I be good, Daniels. How you is?
We be good. We've survived the Calgary Stampede.
Yes, and it's finally summer.
Mm-hmm. It's
It'd
summer,
be nice
guys.
to sail outside.
Oh my God, it's been so beautiful.
Although apparently there's record heat all over the goddamn world.
Oh God damn, Rose, what it mean? Global warming? Is it real?
I was going to talk about it as one of the stories, but I figured, it's like we're just beating a dead horse at this point.
It's true. It's funny because like I was talking to one of my coworkers about this like the other day, and I was just saying like I want to be optimistic about things in life, guys. I try to be
You try to be optimistic.
Glass half
Could have
empty.
fooled me.
Glass half full. No, but like when it comes to what's happening in the world, I feel like I take a pessimistic view only because I think to myself, in order, like just even thinking about climate change, right? It's like in order for us to start making real change on what's happening in the world, we have to unite as a global entity, right? What are the chances of that happening?
And there you go, guys. Welcome to the start of the Doom and Gloom podcast.
But like, Rose, the reality is every single country would have to cooperate. Every single person on the planet would have to cooperate.
Well, in a way, not necessarily, because the majority of the actual if we're talking about climate change here, the majority of the damage is done by A, giant corporations, and B, giant corporations in usually big, like developed countries. Yeah. So it's not every single person, like everyone is like has the same carbon footprint at all, like not even close. Like all of us living in North America, we have probably the highest carbon footprint, and let's not get started with like the billionaires that 1%. Have all the fucking private jets and stuff. So that's probably the biggest issue. But the problem is because money talks. And like the world is running on money, no one's going to challenge those people.
Exactly. No one's going to do anything. And again, it's just like it would have to be a fundamental change to the system that we've created. That's what I feel.
Yes,
and that's
which is very difficult. Yes.
Exactly. And that's why I'm like, is it ever going to happen? Like not to be negative, but to be negative.
Guys, we're starting the podcast out right. Always.
What are your thoughts, Rose? You think I'm crazy?
I mean, I think you're right, but sometimes I think we need to be living in our own world to survive.
Do you think we need to be a little bit Delulu?
A little bit, yeah.
God damn.
The Lulu is the Salulu.
God damn. The Delulu is the Salulu, God damn, guys.
Anyway, guys, before we jump in, just a reminder to join our Patreon family. Patreon.com/thesavagepodcast if you want a little shout out at the beginning of the show. Yep. If you want ad-free content. Every week, the episodes are ad-free, and also you get it earlier than everybody else, and you get a bonus episode every single month, only for the Patreon members. So make sure you join patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Thank you, Rose.
Now let's talk about the crazy shit that happened. The Trump assassination attempt and all of the conspiracies, because I am curious.
Goddamn. So guys, it was funny because like me and Rose were pre-discussing obviously the stories that we were talking about. And I'm like, you know what we should call this podcast? I think we're going to have to call it the Trump dump, because literally there's so much going on with Trump. Let's start with the assassination. Okay. What the fuck happened?
So I don't actually know, guys, once again, this is just two friends talking. Yeah. We are not a news source. Please.
This is true.
Check your sources. We're just kind of going by what we think we know.
What we've seen in the media, what we've heard, the whispers in the streets.
Yeah, we're not journalists, okay?
Yeah. We have done zero research.
Well, I've seen a few videos on it. So basically he's doing this rally, right? And I saw the video where basically you hear these like...
I saw the video too.
You saw the video, right?
Yeah.
And then you hear these like... Okay, is it me or did it not sound like normal gunshots? But I don't fucking know, okay?
Yeah, it was weird. It sounded like... I don't know what a gunshot's really supposed to sound like, but...
It didn't sound as like... But I think it came from afar, so maybe that's why. Anyway, so a few gunshots, and then Trump just kind of like ducks.
Yeah.
And then he like kind of comes back up covering his ear.
Yeah, it kind of looks like he's like You hear it. It's like split second, and it's like you see him kind of go like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then he comes up, and apparently, guys, what had happened is the bullet that was meant for Trump, which this is fucking crazy, okay? If this is real.
Okay, wait. Are we a conspiracy theorist?
No. Well,
I don't know. We might be.
We might, because I want to talk. Okay, guys, I don't know what's happened. There's a lot happening, but anyway, the story is the bullet that from this assassin came.
Yeah.
It graced his ear, right?
Yeah.
It hit his ear here without going into his head or anything. Just graced the.
He just turned just in time.
Graced his ear, and then obviously his ear was like split open, and it was like blood. Well, we just saw a lot of blood.
Well, the thing is, people are, again, there's a lot of conspiracies.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not one to speculate, but I am one to speculate.
See, people were saying, so the reason I was like, if it happened or not,
yeah.
People were saying like
is it fake?
Is it somebody that number one, he hired like an actual, like somebody to like
that
fake
seems a bit far-fetched though,
to like improve his chances of winning?
The thing is, at first I was like, I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think the main thing that I was like, when I first heard the news, I was kind of like, because I saw that picture. There's like the famous picture that's going to go down in the history books where Trump is like standing there with like a bloody ear and it's right here. And like there's an American flag just right behind him, perfectly placed.
Yeah.
Right behind him. There's like this bodyguard that's like kind of covering him a little bit. There's another one with like sunglasses on. And Trump has his fist in the air. And it looks like, I'm sorry. The photographer, whoever fucking took this photo.
Yeah.
Like, I hate Trump, but that is a fucking good PR photo. Let me tell you.
It's like, fuck yeah, America.
But I saw that photo and I was like, that seems fucking fake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Just from that photo, I'm like, God, like it's so staged.
Yes.
Like, but again, guys, I don't actually know if it's like, I think the chance that it's like so staged is really low just because it's like, that takes like a lot of people.
But someone died too, right? Like someone actually died.
Exactly. That's the thing. People actually died in the crowd. I think like one person died. I don't know who else.
But also apparently when it graced his ear, didn't it hit the person behind him or something?
I don't know. But that's another thing. Like, I feel like normally when I see why conspiracy theories have popped off because like when you see the video as well, like, I don't know if you noticed, but like people behind him, like didn't seem to like they weren't really panicking as much as maybe they didn't know what was going on. I don't know. But like they were just kind of standing.
Yeah.
And like,
whoa.
Like,
I'm like,
I don't know. But I mean, the chance that it's fake, it's probably low because it's like, that's hard.
This is true. Well, let's go into the actual the shooting story first because like I feel like
okay. So they've identified the gunman.
Yes.
Who did he die? I think he got killed in the what do you call it? The crossfire.
Okay.
Because like basically like obviously, and well, here's another thing. So some people, our favorite Candace Owens, she was speculating. I don't know what she's probably a huge conspiracy theorist to be fair. But she was like saying, she was like, what did she say? She's like, it's like impossible to get past the Secret Service because like when you have someone like the president of the United States, and people made this point that he's not actually the president anymore, so he wouldn't have as much of a bodyguard situation. I feel like he would have less just because he doesn't have the backing of the White House or whatever. But basically it's like it's very hard to get past the Secret Service. These things are very meticulously like protected. I don't know about that. She's also crazy, so
yeah.
Anyway, take what she says with a grain of salt. But anyway, so from what I heard, he died from he got shot because he was like shooting, and then who knows. So former classmate describes Trump rally gunman as definitely conservative because people were saying like, oh, was he conservative? Was he liberal? Like people were kind of talking about that. And some people said that he used to like donate to like liberal causes, blah, 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 blah.
So they're thinking he was just like against the Republican cause.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, obviously he's like shooting Trump. So like the first kind of guess would be that he'd be like a liberal person, but apparently he was conservative. It says the FBI has not disclosed details on a possible motive in connection to Saturday's shooting, which killed one spectator, injured two others, and wounded the former president of the United States in the ear.
There you go. And then before the gunman was shot to death himself by Secret Service agents. So this is actually feeling like it's less and less of a conspiracy in a sense that like people actually legitimately died, guys.
Right.
Like it's kind of like, I don't know.
So it's more so probably just an incompetency.
Yeah.
But I'm still like, God, how incompetent are you? He was a 20-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on now.
It's crazy. So the Bureau had previously seized several of Crook's, that's the gunman's electronic devices in an effort to piece together some of his communication before the rally. So they're trying to figure out what he was doing there, what basically trying to build a case as to like, what was this guy's motive? Like, why would he have done this, you know?
Yeah, who knows?
It's actually crazy. I like couldn't not believe.
And okay, I'm sorry, but people are saying, first of all, Trump is like the luckiest person alive.
Yeah.
He always like just gets away with everything.
Oh my God.
Like he's always just like, you know, oh my God, he like literally could have been shot. And then now he's just like, oh, he just, you know, grazed his ear. Of course it did. And then now it's like, not only is he already, you know, more likely to win because Biden is his running mate.
But because this happened.
But now this happened. And then you got that photo where he fucking literally survived assassination.
Yeah.
He's going to win.
Yeah. People are going to vote for him just because of that.
Like literally, that's how insane it is though.
I know.
People will vote for him because of this.
It's crazy.
And now also like the Democrats are like doing less on, because obviously they feel bad that he got shot, but still it's like, I don't know. Like I understand that, but at the same time it's like, okay, it's still like, he's still not going to be a good president. So please don't. So they're like doing less of like ads against him.
Right. I see. But you're right. This is the thing. I mean, it sucks that this happened and it sucks that, you know, he almost got killed, but also like, he's not going to be a good president.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry. He's just not like, I can't believe this. I just can't believe this whole situation in the States right now. Like the two people that are running, I would not want to vote for either of them.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, but like we have Joe Biden who is like going to be like,
oh my God.
Know.
Speaking of Joe Biden, so he was doing, because obviously now after that debate, everyone was like freaking out. They're like, my God, he's so old. Like, what are we going to do? And then he started doing these like interviews to like try to prove that he's like okay.
And then did it get worse?
It got worse, Daniel. Like, for example, he would for example, right now, like the vice president is Kamala Harris. And he was like talking about the vice president. He's like, oh, vice president. Oh God, I think he was like, oh, Vice President Trump, or like mixed up the names.
Oh my God.
Something like this. And then he keeps mixing random shit up. Like it's not just one time. Like one time he was like calling, the Ukrainian president or prime minister, like Zelensky. So that's his name, like his actual name. And he's like, President Putin. And like he's done this kind of shit multiple times. And everyone's like, oh my God.
The thing is, he's been around for a long time. A long time.
Not just in office, but on Earth.
Exactly. So you mean, you know, when you're on the Earth for such a long time, you get your facts mixed up. He's been exposed to so many things, you know?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with his brain deteriorating.
No, but it's that too.
And some people are saying that he might have Parkinson's. Like, there's like a whole thing.
God.
I'm just like,
can he run for 4 years? Like,
no,
should he have?
He looks like he's gonna like.
I mean, to be fair, he's like in his like 80s, like late 80s.
He's not Daniel. He's not in his late 80s.
Sorry,
I think he's like, isn't he like 79 or something?
No, he's in his 80s.
He's like Google 81 or 82.
I think he's like 84.
No. I don't think he's that old. That's extreme. I mean, this is already extreme.
Let's see. Come on, Rose, type it in. Joe Biden.
He's 81, Daniel.
Okay.
Spreading false information, Daniel. Late 80s. He's like 89.
Well, if he was 89, that would be even more insane. But even at 81,
even 81 is insane.
I'm like, because 4 more. When's his birthday? His birthday's this year, Rose. I think he's turning 82 this year. Add 4 more years for presidency.
God.
He'll be 86 years old.
It's crazy. Well,
like, why do you want? You like go and enjoy time with your family. Like, I'm sorry, guys. When I'm going to be honest with everyone on this podcast. When I'm 80 and in my 80s, you know what I'm not going to be doing?
Running for the president of the United States.
You know what I'm also not going to be doing? Working in corporate America. You know what I'm not going to be doing is working my ass off. You know what I am going to be doing? Enjoying a fucking pina colada in fucking Cancun. You know, visiting friends and family. And that's fucking it.
Exactly. I'm going to be sleeping. I'm going to be eating. I'm going to be fucking enjoying life. I'm going
to be rolling out of bed whenever I feel like it.
And I'm going to be starting to do that way before 80. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah. Freedom at 55 or whatever, right?
I saw this video and it was like things that are older than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And I can't even remember. It was like there's like ridiculous list. And one of them was President Clinton. No, things that are younger, not older. Younger than Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And one of them was like Bill Clinton, who, by the way, was president like 30 years ago. And he is still younger than Donald Trump and Joe Biden.
Fuck off. Is he actually?
Yeah.
Oh my God, guys.
And he was president in like the early 90s or something like this.
Yeah. Fuck.
So it's like, that's how ridiculous this has gotten.
Yeah.
Like what? There's no one else, in their 60s that can run?
No.
Like, what is happening?
It's actually crazy. Is there no one else out of the like 350 million people that live in the United States of America?
Oh my God, it's actually shocking.
Ugh.
But anyway, so let's look at the conspiracies because this is fun.
Love. Rose loves a good conspiracy theory.
So yeah, I love a good conspiracy. So conspiracy theories swirl online after Trump assassination attempt.
Of course. I mean, I also was skeptical. I was like, this seems so like, and I did say that people died, but like maybe that's part of the organization of it. Like,
oh God,
there's going to be some, what do they call it? What's it called? When you like are aiming for something and there's like something on the side that gets hit.
I know what you mean.
Like not an innocent bystander. It's like
I know what you mean. God damn, what's the word? It's
fuck. What is it, guys? What is that word? That is so annoying. That's gonna bug me.
Maybe it'll come to you, Daniel.
Fuck. I hate when that happens.
Okay, so
it's my old age,
So conspiracy theories have been, swirling online. Okay,
yeah.
So claiming without evidence, it says, and obviously, everyone's just speculating here. Yeah. Okay. That this shooting has been arranged by his rivals or faked entirely. So there's tons of different types of conspiracies because everyone's like, how the fuck is this possible, first of all?
Yeah.
So anyways, so let's look at the conspiracies. So some supporters of Trump, who has shared and inflamed numerous conspiracy theories himself, have posted on social media that they believe the shooting was coordinated by his opponents. Right. So that's one of the conspiracies that it was.
So one conspiracy is it was coordinated by
the other side. Yeah. Okay.
The Democrats.
And what the hell? I think that's a bit insane. I mean, I think all of it's probably a bit insane.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't know. I think that's like, if anything, it's more of a PR stunt than anything else.
That's the thing.
I don't know. I think the only reason why I think it's like a conspiracy potentially is because of that fucking photo.
That photo, it's like
that photo just like was, and also the fact that after he got shot, and some people are saying this, it's like usually there's like a protocol. After like the president gets, obviously because this thing happens, right? Like
it does, yeah.
The president gets shot and the protocol is like immediately like take him off the stage, evacuate, like, take him out, right? Yeah. Like don't leave. But he was like just like kind of like like standing on stage, taking fucking photos, like that does seem weird. Yeah. Again, it doesn't mean that it was like all planned. I'm just saying there's a reason why people think it's weird. For me, it's probably more so likely that they're just incompetent or something. Let's see here.
What's another one? What's another one of the theories, Roses?
Wow, even some politicians are saying that Biden had sent the orders for an assassination, which is kind of fucking crazy. Oh, yeah. Because of Joe Biden saying like in some kind of interview or something that it was time to put Trump in a bullseye. Okay, come on.
I know.
That's just a fucking that's obviously a figure of speech. Okay. Let's not. Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Some who dislike Trump, meanwhile, claim the shooting was staged. Referencing
this was initially what my thought was.
Yeah. Referencing the dramatic and viral photograph taken by Evan Vucci, which shows Trump raising his fist with the blood on his face and the U.S. flag in the background. Again, like, let's at least admit that photo.
Yeah.
That does look like kind of a staged photo, okay?
It even says, sorry, but this sure looks like Trump being a crisis actor, one person wrote on X, staged to get sympathy and be the center of attention and news for the weekend.
In another post with nearly 3 million views, a user wrote that the shots sounded like they came from a BB gun, alleging nobody in that crowd heard an actual gun. I don't trust it. I don't trust him. It was not clear whether the writer was at the scene of the shooting, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so a lot of people are saying that. And let's see, it's spread like wildfire.
But people did die. So like
exactly, that's where
I'm like, I don't think it was a BB
is.
gun because you would get a welt or something from it, but I don't think you can die from a BB gun.
No.
You probably could die some way from a BB gun, but like just initially getting shot, it would just give you a welt or something.
Yeah. So if nobody got shot or if nobody died,
I was gonna say, Rose, people got shot.
If nobody died, then I might believe more of the conspiracies.
True.
But because people did die, I'm kind of like...
I know. That's where you have to be like, oh, I don't know. But then I'm also like, people go to extreme lengths for things. And I'm like, would that be something where they're like, you know what? I don't care.
Like it's worth dying for.
Exactly. I don't care if there's a few people that have to die to do this publicity stunt.
God.
Because I want to be reelected. Again, guys, I'm not saying that that's what happened.
I mean, again, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything is possible, especially when you have... I mean, Donald Trump was president of the United States. Let's start there.
Yeah.
You know, we all thought that was never going to happen.
Well, exactly. And then when it happened, everyone was like, oh, my God.
And now he's running again. A convicted felon is running again for the United States president. Okay?
It's crazy. And the crazy thing is like he'll probably win.
Oh, God. It's so bad.
Well, I have a question for you, Rose.
Yeah.
Do you think if
what?
If Trump wins, do you think the following year, 4 years later, that Joe Biden's going to run again?
From his grave?
Oh, gross.
Daniel, honestly, is he even going to survive this presidency? Like, there's still, like half a year left.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's wild.
And also, the fact is that it's not just that he's old. It's obviously that, like, he's old and, like, you can see it.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's, like, right now, even when he's just sitting there, he's not, like, he seems like he's, like, kind of out of it.
Forgetting
he's
things.
Physically just, like, clearly just worn down.
Yeah.
And the amount that it takes to run the campaign, to, like, run around the fucking world, taking trips, planes, like, that's so taxing on your body.
Yeah.
And some people are like, this is really bad, but, like, some people are like, God, if it was Joe Biden getting shot there, no way he would have survived.
Oh.
Like, the thing is, I hate Trump. Say what you say about Trump, but at least he seems kind of vibrant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
he's got a bit of energy to him.
Yeah.
He has that voice, but he doesn't. Not like I'm forgetting anything, Rose. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You're getting better at the Trump voice, Daniel. Have you been practicing?
No, I just need to, like, hear it more. Like, I can hear him in my head, and then I can be like, yeah, so I'm going to be the president of the United States. I lost it. United States of America. God damn.
But yeah, guys, let us know. Do you believe in these conspiracies?
Was it real?
I wish it was fake? Like, I want more conspiracy. Like, I keep seeing them on TikTok.
Yeah.
Obviously, TikTok is like where conspiracies like fucking will spread like wildfire.
So you know what I would think would be really cool, but it's never gonna happen because it's not real. But like, if you could have a superpower, wouldn't it be kind of cool if you could like know the truth? Like, you could just like
of everything.
Yeah. You could just like maybe you have to do something, like maybe you have to be there and like touch the person or something to like get whatever the truth is.
Oh,
but like,
God.
Imagine, do you know what I mean? Like, you would have that ability.
Daniel, be careful what you wish for.
Because
that,
I think it could also be toxic.
That could be so toxic because like it's like you would meet, you know, your friends, for example, and then let's say you like touch your friend and it's like it shows everything they've ever said about you, and it's like, you know, you don't sometimes you don't want to know. I don't know all the things that you say about me, Daniel.
What do you say
behind my back and everything what you're thinking about me?
God.
Actually, we say mean things to each other all the time, so that's probably
I say it to your face, Rose.
Yeah,
okay?
I say it to your face too.
But yeah, like, that would be it would have to be something that you could like switch off, because there would be like certain moments where I would not want to know, but then for things like this, I would be like, yeah, I want to know what the fuck happened. I want to know what went down.
It's like what is that movie where it's like with is it with like Mel Gibson or something?
Bruce
it's
Willis.
Called like, is it Bruce Willis?
I think so.
What men want or what women want or
no,
something?
That's Mel Gibson. Yeah,
Mel Gibson. And then he can hear everything that a woman is thinking. See, I wouldn't want that. Would I want that?
So, no, I don't think you would. There's another one that Bruce Willis is in. It's like a superhero kind of one, I think. I can't remember what it was called, but basically he has that ability where basically like he like bumps into people sometimes and stuff, and then they'll like show like if they did a crime or like something like this. I see. And then he becomes this kind of vigilante.
I see.
So and there's some pretty weird shit that goes on there.
Right.
But his weakness, I seem to remember his weakness is like he can't swim, like he drowns because he's like for whatever reason, he's like lead. So if he goes into water, he just like sinks and dies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What a movie.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember what it's called though, guys. So look it up.
Bruce Willis, hey?
Yeah.
You know he has dementia?
I know, it's so sad.
It's really sad.
There was actually, did we talk about this podcast?
I don't think
it was
we
like,
did, Daniel.
Basically, there was I don't know if it was a video or something happened with one of his like daughters where they like came forward and like I'm muddling up this story, guys, but basically, long story short, but they're like basically going to spend their last moments like with their dad while he's still like compos mentis, and like they wanted like, you know, obviously media and everyone just to like fuck off basically.
So he's still kind of like aware.
I think so, but I think it's like rapidly deteriorating.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so sad.
Yeah, and like I think Demi Moore was there.
Yeah.
And, like,
yeah.
everybody.
I think I remember Demi Moore. She like, because obviously they were married for a while and they have kids together.
Yeah.
And she had posted like some kind of Instagram post, and it was like, you know, obviously she was like with him and like spending some time with him. It's so sad.
I know. It's just like, oh God.
Anytime
this happens to anybody, it doesn't even have to be a celebrity, but like people you know, when it's like somebody like all of a sudden gets dementia or like a really rapidly accelerating disease.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
it
like,
could happen to anybody.
It could happen to anybody at any
That's
time.
what's scary.
Life be precious, roses.
Life be precious. We can't sit here and be complaining.
Grab it by the balls.
Yeah, I be grabbing it by the testicles.
God damn, Rose. Okay, continue.
Okay,
God damn. Yeah. What'd it be?
So Daniel, your favorite country?
Oh God damn.
Don't want yous.
No, oh God, I be a.
You be a nuisance. So Spain, is not happy. Okay, Spanish people are not happy with the likes of yous, people like yous and me's, because we be tourists and they don't like tourists. So Spanish anti-tourism protesters take aim at Barcelona visitors with water guns.
Sounds kind of nice.
I mean, in this weather,
exactly.
probably.
Yeah, if it's like super hot, it's like, yeah, shoot me with your water gun.
Oh yeah, shoot me with that water gun.
Yeah, daddy.
You sure you want to be shot with the water gun or something else?
Damn, Rosie, be disgusting as hell.
Thousands of protesters marched through Barcelona over the weekend to express anger at mass tourism and its impacts on Spain's most visited city.
Yeah.
Bystanders dining in restaurants in the popular La Barceloneta neighborhood were soaked when protesters sprayed them with water guns.
Yeah. Videos showed diners being forced to change tables at some restaurants to escape the protests on Saturday, while other restaurants were symbolically taped off by the demonstrators. Carrying banners reading Tourists go home, protesters called for reduction in the number of foreign visitors to Barcelona, stopping in front of hotels, restaurants, and to confront tourists. The interesting thing is, though, like, for example, like...
Yeah.
Spain is one of those places, like, people like you or me, like, we would look like tourists maybe, but we could have grown up there. Do you know what I mean? Like,
true.
It's a very, like, especially Barcelona, it's a very multicultural, like, of course they have, like, mostly Catalan and Spanish people, but there's also people that grew up there and are, like, completely fluent, you know, from when they were a child, like, immigrated there, right? So how do they know who's a tourist and who's not?
Well, it's sometimes a little bit obvious.
This is true. This is true.
Especially in, like, obviously they went to, like, a tourist...
very touristy area.
And, I mean, obviously there might be some non-tourists in these areas, but usually in those kind of... Especially in, like, Barcelona, you can kind of tell where it's, like, a touristy area.
And I think this brings up an interesting debate, though, that I'm glad you brought this story up, because... There is this debate, and it's a hard one, right? Because, like,
it's
for example,
about a balance.
It is, and a place like a country like Spain, for example, like Spain, one of their biggest industries is tourism, right? Like they get a lot of tourists every year, not just in Barcelona, but obviously, I think Barcelona is the problems that tourism creates are exponentially more in Barcelona because of the volume that they get there, right? It's not like, you know, some little town village up in the, like, I don't know, fucking north of Spain that maybe gets like a handful of tourists every year. We're talking millions upon millions of people visiting Barcelona.
Tons of people.
And I
love Barcelona.
Oh, and it is, honestly, I've been there many times. I'm part of the problem.
You're part of the problem, Daniel.
It's such a beautiful city to visit. It's got so much culture.
I love it.
It is one of my favorite cities.
It's great.
Yeah, it's like incredible. I'd love to live there.
Daniel, you're not welcome.
I know. Actually, I think I'd live in Madrid. I really like Madrid as well.
Yeah. Madrid's like more, I feel like it's more like probably more authentically Spain.
Yeah.
And it's like a more fun, like metropolitan city.
Yes.
Whereas Barcelona is like, as a tourist, this is why tourists love Barcelona.
Yeah.
Because it's such a great city for I mean, again, I don't want to say this because
it's bad.
Because like it's like there's the beach.
Oh my god,
like,
it's you have
gorgeous.
Everything.
You've got the what's his name? Gaudi.
Yep.
You got all of his like architecture.
Yeah.
It's just like it is Gaudi, right? Is it Gaudi?
Yeah, it's Gaudi. I'm pretty sure it's Gaudi. Yeah.
Now it's like.
Now I'm like thinking.
Yeah, is it Gaudi? It sounds weird right now. The guy that built the fucking Sagrada Familia or whatever the fuck it's called.
Well, and his stuff is everywhere. And plus
his stuff is everywhere.
Plus, Barcelona had like a lot of famous like artists and
it's gorgeous. The architecture is very unique.
Incredible.
So, anyways, there's a reason why people go there. But now it's like obviously like again, yeah, you're right. It's like it's hard to. I'm kind of torn on this topic.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it can be good, the tourism.
Yeah.
But there's a certain level I think that. Maybe the government needs to step in or, you know, maybe they need to have a visa. Like, I don't know what the solution is. I don't think the solution is to stop tourism because, like, let me tell you, the Spain, like, what are they going to fucking make their money on? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
Spain, what's another industry that's big in Spain?
I mean, they have a lot of things going on there. I think they produce a lot of wine, a lot of produce.
Sure.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you take away tourism, it's going to be a big problem. So, there needs to be some kind of checks and balances, some kind of balance, I do
think you're right. I think tourism is their biggest industry.
That wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's hard because you know we don't live right now in a city that like I mean tourists come here, but it's not like a city that's like overrun with tourists.
Exactly.
Like London, for example, when we live there, there's parts of London that have become so overrun with tourists that like the local people don't even want to go there. It's like. It's also like becoming a lot because London is also heavily visited as well.
Oh, heavily.
And it does cause problems. And I think, it says this in the article as well. And this is the biggest problem that I think it creates, one of many, but is the cost of things like housing, like even
housing especially.
Yeah, housing especially, but also like food and everything else. Because as tourists come, restaurants jack up the price because they got lots of people coming to the shop, and then the local people that live there can't afford it. And the housing is the biggest one though. And I think with the introducing of Airbnb and all this stuff, it takes rentals off the market. It causes prices to go up on property because people are buying them to flip them and change them into Airbnbs. Yeah. And then the local people who live and work there and have to live their life there can't really afford to be there.
Especially because like for a country like Spain or Portugal, this is another issue in Portugal. It's where cost of living is lower.
Yeah.
So the local people do not make as much money.
Exactly.
As other tourists that might be coming from, I don't know, the US or UK, London or something like this that have a higher I don't want to say standard of living, but a higher cost of living.
Yeah.
So for them, Spain and Portugal are cheaper countries. So that's the issue. That's one of the biggest issues because then that really drives up the cost for the local people.
Yeah.
Because how can you compete when, you know, people are making a lot more money in the States and they have a lot more spending power?
Well, it was even like, and I'm talking like a tourist here, but even I sometimes think about this, like, you know, for example, when we went to Costa Rica. And I was like, when we went, I'm sure there's places where you can find stuff a little bit cheaper and stuff. But while we were in Costa Rica, like even just like going to like a local coffee shop or anything, everything seemed like pretty expensive for that region.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if their salaries are higher or whatever it is, but like I was shocked at some of the costs.
It was quite expensive.
And I'm like, how are local people affording to live here?
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. So basically it says that the cost of housing has risen. Local authorities say the cost of housing has risen by 68% in Barcelona over the past decade. Mm-hmm. So this is the biggest issue that people have a problem with,
which makes sense.
Which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
So people are saying, there are some demonstrators that are saying that they don't have anything against tourism, but in Barcelona they are suffering because of an excess of tourism that's making the city unlivable.
Yeah.
Somebody also said the last years the city has turned completely for tourists, and what we want is a city for citizens and not in service of tourists. So that's where it's like I understand their
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think if we lived like if Calgary became like that, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, it won't, but like if it did, and we start getting priced out of the market, you know, we can't. We're struggling to pay rent and everything else because so many tourists are just like volumes and volumes of people are just arriving here. It causes a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess the mayor of Barcelona said that by 2028, he would stop renewing the thousands of tourist licenses that permit landlords to rent out accommodation to foreign visitors.
Yeah.
So this is a problem. I think we talked about this like a few years ago, actually.
Yeah.
Where one of the issues that happened was that because of the rise of Airbnb, like we talked about, like normally someone, you know, a person that has a property would rent it out to a normal, whoever lives in Barcelona.
Yeah.
And they would rent it out for like whatever monthly cost. Like, let's say it's like, I don't know, fucking 500 euros or something.
Yeah.
500 euros. Yeah, right. Probably 1,000 euros.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Okay. And then they're like, okay, cool. That's the monthly cost. Fantastic. And then Airbnb came into play.
Yeah.
So then instead of going to a hotel, people can rent the Airbnbs. And now the landlord can make 100 euros a night versus 1,000 euros, whatever, you know, a month. So now obviously, you know, people are going to, so many more buildings and landlords are going to take their homes and make it into an Airbnb instead of a rental, driving up the cost of rental and having less rental properties.
Exactly. And the thing is, if it was only, if the volume of tourists was less and it was only a handful of properties being turned into Airbnbs, this wouldn't be an issue. But like we're talking, like when we talk about Barcelona, guys, like I don't know what the stat is in a year, but I swear like that city.
It's a lot of people.
Millions a year. Millions a year. That can sustain so many Airbnbs, which all of those Airbnbs, we're talking probably tens of thousands of properties.
Yeah, tons.
Off the market for renters.
And especially because, again, I think we should probably Google this. I think like tourism is such a big industry in Spain.
Let's Google.
Like,
what's the topic?
I'll Google it.
Yeah.
But like, for example, like London does get a lot of tourists as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's a huge industry in the UK too.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's like the bulk of it, right?
No, I think London's number one industry
is like
is finance.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
like,
because it's like, it's more, I don't want to say balanced, but there's like a little bit less of a, it's not just about tourism. Whereas like if you have a country that's, especially a country that's not as affluent, and it's relying heavily on tourism, that's going to create so many problems.
I think Barcelona's an interesting city though, Rose, because I think it does obviously rely a lot on tourism, but they have a lot of like tech companies there. I know a lot of like, for example, the company that I work at, we have an office in Barcelona. Yeah. Like I know there's actually quite a few tech. So it's same with Lisbon in Portugal. There's a lot of tech hubs there. So those industries are growing and they're providing more, you know, jobs and everything else. But
that's good.
Yeah. But I think overall the number one industry all in Spain and everywhere, like not everywhere, is tourism.
And also the problem is also the fact that Spain's already going through like a bit of an economic, you know, they're not doing the best economically.
Well, they've been struggling for a while.
Exactly. So they're already struggling, and then they have all these tourists coming in and fucking taking all the homes and driving up the cost.
I don't know if it's improved, but I remember there was a stat, and this was from quite a few years ago, guys. But I remember there was a stat at one point. This was when I was still living in London, and I just remember it because I'll never forget when they said people under the age of 30, the unemployment rate was 50%.
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
Like the overall country unemployment might have been like, I don't know, 20% or 15%. But for that specific demographic, the under 30, so we're talking recently graduated university, those kind of people. So the under 30, or it might have been even under 35, the unemployment was 50%. That means that 50% of people looking for jobs couldn't get them.
And we're not even talking about, even if they were employed, how much are they making? Yeah. Because it's like, if you have such a high unemployment rate, there's no incentive for like employers to be paying a decent salary. Because like, I'll take anything at that point.
Exactly. They'll cut it. They'll give you the lowest salary that they can give you.
So I can't find a list of like the biggest industries, but it says tourism is an industry is an important economic driver in the country, accounting for, and this is in 2018, so it might have changed, accounting for about 11% of the nation's annual GDP. Yeah. So apparently this is the world's third most popular tourist destination. Spain.
Holy fuck.
Which is kind of shocking. Like, I didn't know that.
That's insanity.
Spain receives more than 75 million tourists each year. And this is in 2018. I bet you it's gone up.
That's fucked up because I think the population of Spain is like maybe, I think it's around, actually, can we Google it? I think I want to say
population of Spain?
I think it's like 40 million.
Let's see. Yeah, 47 million.
So they literally receive almost double their population in tourists.
Yeah.
That would be like our city every year getting 3 million tourists.
It's pretty crazy.
That would be insane. That would be like Canada getting 70, almost the same. Like so many million tourists. Like it's actually crazy.
Yeah. I don't know why there's no list.
There is somewhere. I mean, we just have to do like more. We'd have to look more. But anyway.
Anyway, so obviously it's a huge industry in Spain. And without proper laws in place, it can get out of control. So I guess it's a good thing that the mayor is implementing some.
Well, and this is the thing, guys, and this is happening in Canada as well. Like this is there, in BC and a lot of these places. Too many people are buying Airbnbs or buying properties just to flip them for Airbnbs. The thing is, I used to love Airbnb because it was like a really great opportunity to stay in a unique property that wasn't necessarily a hotel. Generally, it was more affordable. You can cook there. It was a really great thing. But then I think it takes away from the fact that you are taking a rental off the market for people in the local area.
Yeah.
And once you start to think of that, that's when cities do have to step in and start putting in, some guidelines, or actually not even guidelines, controls in place. Like, I know, for example, one of my friends lives in a small town and they have an Airbnb, and that town has put legislation in place that there can only be Airbnbs within a certain amount of meters between the each one.
Right.
So that kind of prevents a shitload popping up.
Sure.
And then also you have to have the licenses, you have to have everything else, like all this stuff. So just putting restrictions in place, or like what Vancouver was doing, if I remember, they said that you can't, if you're doing an Airbnb, you can only Airbnb your primary residence. So what that meant is like you have to, like, if I bought,
you can't buy another residence just for Airbnb.
I couldn't just buy a condo and Airbnb it out.
Yeah.
And that restricts it a bit on the market. Whereas if I had my own house and I wanted to Airbnb my room, a spare room, you can do that. So it kind of puts a little, so you can still have Airbnbs and you can still have people making a side hustle with them, but you can't have this craziness that's happening.
Yeah. So I understand the frustration. And it says more than 12 million tourists visited the city in one. So we're just talking about Barcelona.
That is in fucking insane.
12 million visitors in 1 year.
That's like the population of London. So the city of London, the entire city of London.
Yeah, and that's
Barcelona.
not even surprising to me because it's like it's such a big destination.
I know, but that's a lot. Rosetta's a fucking shit ton of people.
It's a lot of people.
Especially because I bet you a majority of that is during the summer. Because I went in the fall or the winter, and it was like there was a lot less. It was a lot less busy. So this 12 million is probably concentrated in like
a certain month,
May to like September.
Sure. Yeah. But how do you feel about the way that they are protesting, the water guns? Because I'm more like don't hate the player, hate the game kind of situation.
Yeah, I think it's misdirected, right? Like if someone's just going to your country and traveling for a holiday, you're saying that they're part of the problem, but they're not realizing, right? For example, and also it is up to those countries.
Yes.
As much as this sucks, and it's gonna suck if this has to start happening across the world, but maybe this is what we're gonna have to start doing is maybe, to your point, maybe they have a limited number of visas every year. Maybe they start putting more strict legislation in place for Airbnbs to help ease up the rental market for local people. Maybe there's certain things that is the responsibility of that country to do for their citizens.
Exactly.
The tourists that are coming to visit, they might not know what's going on in Spain.
Absolutely.
And a lot of this stuff, even myself thinking now, a lot of this stuff I'm learning about Airbnb now, like when we talk about it, right? So
it says here that according to Spain's National Statistics Office, the first 5 months of 2024 alone saw more than 33 million tourists visit the country. First 5 months saw more than 33 million, which represents an increase of 13.6 compared to the previous year. So it's kind of going crazy. It's obviously out of control. And apparently Spain isn't the only European nation to grappling with the impact of tourism on the local population. Venice, Italy, which obviously a huge destination, earlier this year became the first city to impose a fee on daily visitors. So maybe that's the solution. I don't know what the solution is.
Yeah.
A visa might be, or
just limiting. So it's
limiting the number.
Yeah, I know that like some places, like certain landmarks, like Machu Picchu is a perfect example.
Right.
They had so many people going to Machu Picchu, it was causing a lot of damage, and so the government stepped in and were like, look, this is important to our economy. Yeah. Right. It's a destination that people want to go to, but we're gonna limit the number of people that can go.
Fair.
So and you have to book it in advance. You have to like, do all this stuff.
It's kind of like getting a visa for the country, right? Because if you have a certain amount of visas that you're willing to give out, then
controls it.
It'll control it. So
or help control it.
Yeah.
But I do think that also the biggest problem here, why people are protesting, is again, it's not so much the tourism, like the tourists themselves. It's more the cost of living crisis.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's the problem. Like they said, they don't mind tourists visiting the city. Like that's fine, but it's just
it's causing issues.
It's causing issues because it's causing problems now for the everyday people that are living there, which is completely fair. Like
So-
I would get pissed.
So would you go to Spain right now?
To Barcelona?
Mm-hmm.
I might already book my flight. And I booked an Airbnb while I'm there. No.
Oh God.
I haven't actually booked any flights, guys, but I just love, I do love Spain. Like
I do think though, like whilst I don't think the tourists deserve to be water gunned down.
Yeah.
I any form of protest, like I feel like protests do need to be a bit like crazy.
Yeah.
Like a bit like out there to make it, because the whole point is to maybe get some attention, media attention, to get people talking. And obviously water gunning down a bunch of tourists is going to get them talking.
This is very true, Rose.
So whilst I do feel bad for, although it was probably a hot day and I wouldn't have minded being,
You wouldn't have minded being hosed down by some hot Spanish men from head to toe. Hey, you know what? If some hot Barcelonian
Daniel loves a Spanish man.
Oh, I do. Those little Spanish poppies.
They are good looking. They're a little small for me.
I know, but you know what? There's some big ones out there. I mean, like, figuratively and literally, guys. No, I meant like you're right, because I also don't really like really petite. Like
they're a bit petite.
But they're not as small as like Italian men.
I don't know, Daniel. They're both kind of small. And Italy, it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
Northern Italy, they're a bit taller.
Yeah.
A little bit more
more like filled
less
out.
petite.
Yeah.
But depends.
Yeah.
But it's the Mediterranean look. It's like they're a bit like,
Oh, but they're so gorgeous.
They are good looking people.
Like they usually have like long eyelashes.
They got that dark
skin. But like it's just like super.
It's like olivey.
Oh, and like they're usually quite nice bodies.
Yeah, you like that lean look.
I do like the lean look.
Oh, I like a little bit more of a little bit chonkier.
You're like a chonky. But like I said, maybe we should go to Barcelona. I wouldn't mind getting hosed down by some local men. Wet t-shirt contest, anyone?
Yeah, Daniel loves a Spanish man. That's his type.
Guys,
that's your type, isn't it?
It's my toxic trait.
Are they generally shorter than you, Daniel?
To be fair, all the Spanish men that I met or like went on dates with were a little bit shorter than me. I did meet an extremely gorgeous Argentinian guy, and he was a tall man. He was like
that's
taller
different.
than me.
He's got mixed blood in there. He's got some of that, American, not American, like the Americas.
Yeah, someone tell me why Argentinian men are just like.
Because I think there's a lot of mixed. Mixedness.
This is actually a really good point. We talked about this in the podcast, guys. Mixed
is good.
Are good. I think it's
mixes are good.
I think part of it, the reason why it's probably more appealing as well, though, there's probably a genetic reason in a sense that it is it's actually beneficial for us to like have diverse genes.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's actually we'll have more traits that could help us survive and all this kind of stuff. And generally it's just like they're just fucking hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of the mixes
Is that why? So like obviously we know that when you have incest, it's like a problem, like because you have all these defects and whatever.
I think about it too. Like again, I'm generalizing here, guys, and I could be like a little bit off base, but like when you think of the premise of it, like incest, right? You have two people that are genetically very similar. So when they have a child together, even if the child, I mean, they're going to have some sort of like issues. Yeah. But generally also physically, they're going to have some sort of issues. You know, like they might have like wonky eyes or like all this kind of stuff.
What's the reasoning?
Because the genetics are not diverse. It's like too similar.
Yeah, but why does that cause issues?
Because you want diversification in your genetics.
Yeah, but why? What's the reasoning that similar genetics causes issues?
It has to do with
Do you know the science behind it, Daniel?
I can't remember, but there is science behind it. As to
I'm sure there is.
When you have,
you might be right though. It's like the fact that if it's too similar, then like whatever. Actually, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why.
There is
a reason.
Yeah. And that's why I think, and that's probably why people that have like mixed genetics, you have like a lot more genetic stuff and you're just fucking hot. Those mixes, they kill me every time.
You don't like the purebreds?
No. Fuck a purebred. No,
you like a pure Spanish bread?
Oh.
I don't know. I'm a purebred. I'm Korean as fuck.
Oh, goddamn, Roses.
There ain't no mixes in here.
Goddamn.
Mm-hmm. Anyways. So guys, let us know what you think of this Spanish tourism situation. Would you visit now that you know they fucking hate you?
It's such a challenging topic just because
it really is.
You have on one side the economic benefit. You have people's livelihood because there's a lot of people that work in the industry. There's all of these factors. And then on the other hand, you have on the flip side, also people's livelihood where they can't afford to fucking live. There's
exactly.
Even the cost of other things are getting too expensive for them. So it's like, where do you find a balance? And I do feel like the onus, a lot of it is on the local governments to figure out the best way forward in terms of like, how do we control this in a way that we can still benefit economically whilst still protecting our citizens?
Yeah. And actually a similar but slightly different conversation is had about Hawaii. But it's a bit different because Hawaii is like, obviously, like, I mean, a lot of places are colonized. Yeah. But Hawaii is like, you know, quite heavily colonized. There's a big history there. A lot of like Native Hawaiians don't like, because obviously technically it's part of the U.S. Yeah. But a lot of Native Hawaiians like kind of reject the notion that they're like, you know, part of the U.S. Yeah. Because it's been like colonized like heavily, and you know, Native people have suffered. And now there's like this whole talk of like, should we be going to Hawaii? A lot of people in the local, like a lot of local Hawaiians will say, don't come to Hawaii. Yeah. It's damaging. And I think a part of it is the fact that, you know, all these, you know, especially Americans, because now they're allowed to go and live there like without visas, without anything. They're taking up all the, you know, homes, driving up the cost. Like it's fucking insanely expensive there. This
is another issue that we didn't talk about with Spain though as well. You have this issue with the tourists, but then you also have the issue with, because it's a bit cheaper to live there and because the property's less, you have people from like UK, even US buying retirement properties there. Yes. And then they're moving there and living 6 months of the year and doing all this. Big problem. Exactly. And same with Hawaii, right? You have the snowbirds that go there and all sorts of things. Like
same thing. Yeah. And so a lot of people are saying like, don't come here. Yeah. And a part of me like totally understands that aspect. Yes. But at the same time, again, it's like, and then the other side is now that, you know, Hawaii's been around, we've been colonized for a while and tourism has been a thing for a long time. Now it's like they've become reliant on the tourism right. Almost. And, you know, whilst if they were never colonized to begin with, they probably would have been fine just living their lives and fucking, you know, enjoying the Hawaiian life because it's fucking gorgeous there and amazing and they have all this great stuff. But because of all the tourism and driving up the cost, that's forced, like you've seen White Lotus, right? Yeah. Like that's forced the local Hawaiians to work in these industries that they don't want to work in. Yeah. So it's like this, so it's like, again, now it's like, do we visit? Do we not visit? Some people are saying you should visit because, you know, it's kind of too late now to not visit, and you know, you should support the local economy.
God damn, all these late stage capitalist problems.
It's a huge problem. Yeah. Which again, I don't know what the answer is. Okay, I've been to Hawaii.
So you know exactly.
Part of the problem potentially. Yeah. Obviously, when I go to places, I try to be respectful and I try not to like be a fucking dick as a tourist because that's another problem.
Oh my god, we didn't even talk about
another layer.
Like we didn't even talk about like lads on tour.
The Brits abroad. You know, the Americans,
the people abroad. Getting super smashed, fucking going for snorkeling, breaking coral, trampling everywhere, fucking throwing up in the street and being absolutely feral.
Exactly. So that's another issue. Yeah. But yeah, that's the tourism topic.
God,
Lord Jesus.
What be the answer?
I don't know, Genius. All right, guys. Last story.
So this is one that I wanted to bring up because I was on TikTok as usual. And it's interesting because I thought it was topical in a sense that we are hearing more and more and more about AI, you know, replacing jobs, and it's so awesome. And, you know, I've kind of dabbled in a little bit myself, like ChatGPT, other things like this, which I find, you know, it's interesting. It's a new kind of obviously technology that's getting developed and advancing. But what I didn't realize, and it's kind of similar, not similar to Bitcoin, but it's like another element that we don't think about is actually what I heard through this TikTok is because AI, to do these like AI activities, I want to say, it takes like a next level of computing. Like it takes like the computer to the next level in terms of like the amount of power required to process these queries and these things. Sure. It like drains. And the reason I brought up Bitcoin is because Bitcoin's the same in a sense that you have these people, quote unquote, mining for Bitcoin, and the amount of energy use to like develop this system and do all this is astronomical, right?
Yeah.
Like it's huge. So Rose found this article, but it's just saying digitalization's damagement to the environment.
So we're talking about the environment, which is quite interesting.
Because of these power, how much power these things are using. The UN warns that things are going to get worse, and the AI arms race isn't going to help.
God.
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't think, because I don't think of, obviously, like, I don't think about this at all, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we just use the computer and we don't think that this is anything, this has anything to do with the environment.
Exactly.
But as we've talked about this stuff, I've realized, okay, actually, digitalization itself uses resources that we don't see, but they're there.
It's like another thing in conjunction with all of this as well with AI. So just to talk about another piece of this puzzle, like the cloud and like the Google Drives and all this stuff is another perfect example.
That's so crazy.
Where again, we're just like, hey, we're saving stuff to the cloud. We're saving stuff to Google, all this stuff. Well, all of this stuff is physically stored in these massive data warehouses. And these data warehouses, they have to have I remember reading this like article or something where they have to have these like high powered fans. Because imagine you have all of these, almost like all of these hard drives with all this data and all this power.
Oh my God, that freaks me out, Daniel.
I know. So you have to have these fans to keep it cool because it's so much energy and heat that gets generated in these data warehouses.
This actually fucking freaks me out.
Yeah.
We are living in some kind of
like future
WALL-E universe.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Be crazy as hell.
So yeah, like these are things that we don't think about. Like I never, because we just think, oh, it's just in the cloud. Like
it's up in the cloud somewhere. Like
it's so insane. I have no way of understanding it.
I know. And this is the thing that got me when I saw this TikTok. Again, I did a little bit more research looking into it. And I was like, I don't get it. Like, why is AI so detrimental? Is it not just like, and then when you start piecing apart all of this stuff,
that makes sense.
It's just the drain.
Because it's like, imagine like, obviously we store photos and videos and things like that. But like, if we're creating, let's say an AI video, it's like, it's not only creating the video, but it has to take all of these like data sources from all over the internet.
So it's going like this.
What the fuck?
But super fast, obviously.
We need another planet. Guys, where can we go to? What other planet can we fuck up? Because there are not enough resources on this planet for us to continue to do what we're doing. Yeah. And like not have consequences.
I know. It's crazy.
Oh God, it's really freaky. I don't know why this freaks me out so much.
Well, I think it's just because like we're only on the precipice of it in a sense that like it's almost like one of the like when we talk about veganism and stuff, right? You know, we talk about like climate change, animal welfare, all of this sort of stuff. People now are only starting to. Some people are slowly coming to these realizations like, holy fuck, this is happening. We're getting documentaries, all this stuff, because we were so disconnected from what was going on.
Right.
And I feel like that's happening with computing, right? Like you're
disconnected.
Exactly. Like up until like a couple of years ago, I also was like, oh, the cloud and Bitcoin and all this stuff. And then it's like all of this stuff does have to be sourced somewhere. Yeah. And it does generate a lot of power, it utilizes a lot of power, a lot of heat, and a lot of these things. And it's like, these are resource drains.
That's so crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
So
it's like a thing that we don't think about, but now we got to start thinking about it because it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I want to see if they have like a little like stat or something we can like.
The thing is, even if it has a statistic, I don't think I would understand what that means. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, for me, it's like, this is so beyond my realm of knowledge that, wait, here it is here.
Well, this is about the data centers, what I was talking about though. But so here's a quote, guys, from this article. It just says, the expanding data-driven digital economy increasingly relies on data centers with huge storage and computing capacity, and these consume large amounts of both energy and water. The estimated electricity consumption by 13 of the largest data centers data center operators more than doubled between 2018 and 2020. Consumption was led by Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and Meta, which is, and there's more to come. According to the IEA, I'm not sure what that is, worldwide, electricity for data centers amounted to about, again, we're not going to know this, but like 460 trilliwatts or something in 2022, a figure that could more than double. So it's doubling every like 4 years or so, like in terms of how much consumption is taking place.
So to put this into perspective, it says in some countries, growing data center activity has put a strain on the local electricity grid. In Ireland, which is a big like tech hub now, electricity used by data centers more than quadrupled between 2015 and 2022, representing 18% of total electricity consumption in 2022.
That's insane.
Which is absolutely insane. Projections indicate that this could reach 28% by 2031. In Singapore, where data centers were responsible for about 7% of all electricity demand in 2020, the government imposed a moratorium on new data centers and later replaced it with stricter conditions, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So 18% of total electricity consumption in 2022
in Ireland
was just data centers in Ireland.
7% in Singapore.
Well,
7%.
7%, and they're putting restrictions.
Exactly. It doesn't even say what it is in the U.S.
Goddamn Lord Jesus, Daniels.
So like
crazy sale. Goddamn, do we need to go and live in a forest and stop using the internet? Oh, anyway, guys, there you go. We're living in the age of
here's one
Wall-E.
more stat to leave us with, just to, while we're on this fun note. So it said here, in the case of Microsoft, training of GPT-3, so I guess it's kind of like a chat GPT sort of thing, in its data centers in the U.S. has been estimated to have directly consumed 700,000 liters of potable water. I think that means it's like drinkable water for cooling, just for cooling the systems that they're using.
700,000 liters, guys.
Yep.
And on that positive
note, guys, woohoo!
Yay!
Yay! I
mean, late stage capitalism.
We're doomed. We're fucked. We are so fucked.
Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Doom and Gloom podcast. Let us know down below if you are watching on YouTube. Leave a little comment, letting us know your thoughts on any of the stories we discussed today.
Yes.
If you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like this video. Okay. What else, Daniels?
So, guys, also, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to hit that follow. You get updated as soon as episodes go live. And of course, guys, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/the SaVeg podcast. You get exclusive content there every single month. We do an exclusive episode. Also, you get episodes a week earlier than everyone else, and all the content on there is ad-free for your enjoyment.
Thank you so much for listening, guys, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.